I love bicycles. The thrill of sprints, the wetness of climbs, watching the Zero d'Italia or the Tour de France or the Volta a Portugal for hours, for those 30 seconds of emotion when the ace throw themselves forward or the starts and tags are battled for. Bicycle racing is visceral. I've often heard that swimming is a sport that uses every muscle the human body has, but bicycle racing doesn't really stand much behind. Maybe it's just the lack of my physical fitness, but whenever I ride a bicycle, my legs cramp up, and emptiness spreading. My chest pants, visible to all. I feel alive, as if every fiber in my burning being is going. In fact, I would place cycling, more specifically road racing, up there in my top 10 novice things I'd enjoy watching in the week. Up there with reading and writing, these YouTube videos, of course, so much more. And yet, for the longest time, video games have yet to take the opportunity of bicycle racing as an interactive medium. It reached a point where I would put GTA San Andreas, not to explore the vastly open world while being a general thug, but just to ride a bicycle. I repeated the Olympic video games because they had cycling in them. Yes, I'm a huge cycling fan, and I'm aware that this review is as nice as they get. I mean, a sports game, not only that, but a sports game that's not FIFA. And previous year it isn't at that. If I'm looking to rack up the views, this is not how I'll do it. But that's the thing about Tour de France 2016. While it is niche at best, and doesn't get the huge burst in numbers that a soccer game would get, I find myself returning to it over and over again. Knowing your gears will help you know what to do, but I wouldn't necessarily call this game unfriendly to the beginner. In fact, it's probably one of the best ways to get into road racing. There is to do a series of in-depth tutorials that explain everything from energy management to wind resistance. I cannot pretend to be a professional rider more than I can pretend to be a taxi driver due to my love of crazy taxi. So it would be foolish for me to speak about the impact of certain conditions on the riders in real life. I can only approach it as a casual cyclist and fan of the sport. What is here, however, are elements that I often see in road races broadcast on TV or those I attend personally, only to get into a real crap spot and miss most of the action. At first glance, the controls couldn't be simpler. R2 to accelerate, L2 to brake, with a few other twists and turns thrown in, a button just for the attack and the sprint. One might think that covers everything needed to win. After all, they are going forward, but Tour de France 2016 has a particular mix of genres that makes this prospect laughable. It's not just a sports game or a simulation, it's also a strategy game. Road racing is as much about strategy and the mind as it is about physical fitness, and the developers knew that. Energy really is the key to win. Over hour-long stages, that's one in real life hour, not a clock on the game, one has to learn to manage and subdue their energy. Road racing takes stamina, through hundreds of kilometers, riding up and down and all around. Energy is slowly used, and the further one is in the race, the lesser amount of stamina regenerates over time. It makes sense in that your rider is exhausted, but it does mean that a badly timed attack 45 minutes in will cost you the race. It's cause for a drone controller, or, in my case, ripping it tighter and restarting, because I have absolutely nothing to do. The key to victory is in your team. Whether in the platoon or racing ahead, there's always the option to call a team member to pull you, so you can follow them and conserve your energy. The right sequence for the right part of the track is also important. While an all-rounder might be average at both flats and climbs, a climber will probably do a better job on the hills. While taking control of world-renowned cyclists is always fun and fills my ego and my dreams, it's a mode where you take a team of unexperienced cyclists and manage them all the way to the podium finish of the 21st day of the tour that gives me the most joy. Starting out in local competitions, getting noticed, it's the allure of being discovered, and blatant wishful fulfillment, I'm aware. Of course, even with the option to fast forward long parts of the track, when nothing's happening of particular interest, Tour de France 2016 isn't for everyone. While the game does attempt to alleviate this with a third mode, that rarely lasts more than 2 minutes, and it's all about speed, as it's mostly downhill in this mode. It's in this mode where I think the game falters. In trying to appeal to a more casual crowd, it provides a bare bones mode. Graphically, while the game can be set to exactly look next gen, I'm playing the PS4 version by much more care was put on the scenery than on the riders. It's breathtaking sometimes, climbing a hill and noticing just how the road spreads out ahead of you. The sides of the roads are also populated by spectators, who are animated. You can crash into them, trust me, I tried, as you can just run into walls if you don't brake. But it's a nice little detail. Tour de France 2016 was hardly ever going to be a bestseller. The event on which its based has international prestige. It's something most people about in the background and not pay attention to. It remains a game mostly for cyclists. Though tries have been made to introduce beginners, it's debatable whether or not it will rapidly win. Mixture of strategy, stamina, and riding. Taking the team to victory. Throwing my bicycle forward at the very last second to gain an edge. Those are all things I dreamed of doing, and wish I could do in this video game. I enjoyed Tour de France 2016, but then I enjoyed cycling. Take your own conclusions.